Our first guest on the show today is a candidate for the State House here in Michigan, Mike Shirkey. Hey, Mike. Welcome.
Hey, Bart. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Glad to have you. Happy Mardi Gras.
Same to you.
Would you like Would you like a punchki?
No, I think that'll just mess up my girlish figure.
All right. Well, you can get one on the way out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think a lot of people were surprised when you decided to run for this seat, because you have been politically active in this community for quite some time.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it politically active, but I'd call it politically interested. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's our responsibility to be politically interested. So I'm not sure I would agree with the politically active, at least until now. Well,
most recently, I think in the U.S. House race with Mark Schauer and Tim Walberg, mm-hmm. you were quite, I think, outspoken in favor of Tim Walberg.
Sure.
In fact, you recorded some commercials for him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I also believe that it's important for all of us to do two things. One is choose who we think would be the best one to represent us in whatever the role is, mm-hmm. and not be ashamed to back them, but at the same time, if they happen to not win, you know, whoever does prevail, they become then our congressman, like Mark is my congressman now, and I say that he is my congressman, you know, and so to the extent that I can, he's, you know, I want to support him. But this next election, you know, I can give you a list of things that he and I disagree on, and so this next election, I'll be just as energetic, you know, trying to get a more conservative viewpoint representation for us in Congress, and Tim's the man.
Is this your first attempt at a run for public office?
I ran for school board in Columbia School District quite a number of years ago. I won once and lost once.
This is a state house seat that currently is vacant. It's the 65th district seat, and here's a map of the district itself, and it extends into Eaton and Lenawee counties just a bit, and it's about half of Jackson County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reaches down into Lenawee County for Cambridge Township, and then up to 2 counties in Eaton County. So it's a pretty widespread, you know, convoluted district that you got to get on a horse and do some serious traveling to reach out to all the areas.
Well, as I mentioned, it's vacant with the death of Mike Simpson just a couple months ago. Mike, would you have run for this seat if Mike Simpson was still in that office?
High likelihood. High likelihood. I think the landscape in the nation is such that it provides a little better opportunity for somebody to run against an incumbent, as noticed by, well, Brown didn't run against an incumbent, but he certainly ran against an incumbent seat in Massachusetts and won. So the likelihood is I would have run. As far as Mike's concerned, you know, he was a very energetic state house rep, and I'd like to build upon his terrific track record of constituent relations. I mean, he did a really good job of reaching out and touching, you know, most of the people in the district, and so I get that feedback on a regular basis, and I hope that I can sustain that standard and maybe even, you know, springboard from it. So
you mentioned Scott Brown, and I know the campaign is, and I think many Republicans are looking at the Scott Brown effect as something that could continue into the November midterms. Are you aligned with any of the candidates for either you mentioned Tim Walberg, but for the governor race?
You mean have I chosen a horse to bet on?
Yeah.
I have not chosen a horse to bet on. I think we've got 4 excellent candidates. They're all different. They all come from different backgrounds, different perspectives. They're all far more conservative and far more business-oriented and business-friendly than our current administration. And so, you know, right now, I'd be willing to serve under and with any of them. And I'm looking forward to that change in regime, to be honest with you.
I think the last 3 or 4 years, we've heard a lot about the budget and the fact that there's not enough money to run state government as it stands. What would you like to see done in Lansing that would solve that problem?
Well, I don't know that there's anything I can suggest right now today that we can start and finish in the time frame that most people are expecting to see it done in, okay? Which I think is part of the fundamental problem in our leadership in Lansing. You know, we are plagued by short-term fixes and Band-Aids and instantaneous gratification and, you know, snippets of sound bites trying to fix things, and we really have some deep-rooted structural issues. And so one of the things that I would promote and I would hope to get some support on is a 3 to 5, it could even reach 7 years plan and vision to evaluate virtually every department in every part of the state government. First, assess what were the assumptions in place when they were created, and then ask ourselves the question, do those assumptions still apply today? Yes or no? If they do, great. If they don't, well then what do we need to change so that it's not just right size, that's too easy to say, right size, but properly defined and designed for what we need today. And you know, I just don't see any of that happening. Now the reason it's not happening is because it's hard work, it's going to take a lot of time, and you're going to be stepping on a lot of toes. And so it's a tough job. And go ahead.
I was going to say some of those departments and some of that spending is constitutionally mandated, and I think that's been one of the hearings. Other legislators express that frustration. Does the Constitution have to be? Is it time to reopen the Constitution?
You're talking about the state Constitution?
Right.
Well, that's another can of worms. Is it time to evaluate portions of the Constitution in which we can discuss, debate, and change? Yes. Do we need to do a con-con, you know, a constitutional convention? I'm not sure. And I'm not smart enough right now to know the answer to that question. I do know that there are some implications of that that are bigger than what I think most people understand, including myself. But I am not a big fan of people who quickly go to, well, that's a constitutional requirement, I can't change that. You know, one of the most important questions that I don't think are asked enough at any level of government is a 3-letter word: why? You know, and that's a training that I started, that I've been ingrained in me in all my manufacturing years. You know, why do we do this? Why do we do it? You know, and it's not until the 4th or 5th why do you really get to the root issue. That's getting back to my point about testing the assumptions of decisions that have been made in the past, and do they still apply today?
You're a manufacturer, Orbitform, your company. As a manufacturer, what are the things that you've seen in running your business that have been frustrations with how the state treats business?
The single biggest deterrent to capital deployment, regardless if it's local, state, or national, is uncertainty. And I have not felt like there's been any leadership, in particular from Lansing, for at least 8 years, that provides some certainty as to what to expect in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And so my frustration with state government is just exactly that. You know, we can't plan for anything. I mean, for heaven's sakes, townships can't plan budgets. School boards can't plan their budgets because, you know, we end up, you know, at the last minute holding the state hostage for budget approvals. You know, what is magic about a 12-month budget? You know, why can't it be a 24-month budget or a 24-month budget with a 36-month projection? And I know there'll be all kinds of comments about why we can't do that, but I can tell you this: until we start asking why not and do that a few times, we won't get to the real root of it. And that's the part of. Listen, Bart, nothing's easy, especially in the complexities of government. But and so I don't want to project that. You know, I got all the solutions, and all I got to do is, you know, follow my baton. That's not the case at all. I just want to be part of the solution. In fact, I don't care who carries the ball over the goal line. Yeah, I just want to move the ball down the field in the right direction. And
jobs.